Hi guys, this is Amir from Tech Aficionado, and I'm here to just help you decide whether or not you would like to get AWS certified. Well, one benefit of getting AWS certified is probably what you already heard by now, and why you're watching this video, is that it will most likely boost your salary by quite a large margin, where you could be in the six-figure range. And that is pretty much true, I would say. And don't let if people try to talk you out of it. At the end of the day, you negotiate your salary, and you try to fight for what you're worth. If you play your cards right, you could definitely get a nice six-figure salary. But what they didn't tell you is that one certification isn't going to do anything. You probably need at least 3 to 4 certifications to start getting noticed and get some good interview requests from HR and hiring managers and recruiters, etc. So always remember that just one ADL certification probably won't likely get you a job, but it's a good stepping stone to start getting more and build that foundation of your AWS experience. So for me, I pretty much started out with very little knowledge of AWS when I was looking to get certified, and I was able to watch a lot of YouTube videos like I'm doing now, read some online documentation by Amazon itself, and just go on Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Dice.com. Just look at how many jobs there are for Amazon Web Services. You'll be amazed at how much they're paying. So that's why I would say it's definitely worth getting AWS certified. And if you play your cards right, put your mind to it, you'll walk out very pleased, as I have. I used to be a system engineer for about 6, 7 months when I was starting my certification journey. And people would ask me all the time, Amir, what are you getting these certs for? Like, why? And I keep telling them because I want to get out of help desk. I'm not trying to stick around help desk, for another 5, 10 years like some other people I've saw. Where you pretty much stagnate your salary in the mid 50s to 60s range, and you stay there. I always like to compete. I always like to learn something new. So that's why I wanted to get more involved in AWS. I was lucky the company would pay for my certification at the time, which was really good. But then I realized these guys didn't really want me to do anything with AWS. When I was trying to get involved with some of the architecture of our cloud services that we provide to different school districts, because we're like a school technology kind of company. We provide software as a service for these different school districts all around the U.S. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll learn what I can, and if you guys want me to do that here, that's fine. I'll just go find a job somewhere else, and yeah, that's what happened. Not only did I find a job somewhere else, but I pretty much essentially made double my salary from where I was making 55 a year, and now I'm making well over 6 digits. So yeah, I mean that's a good career choice. It didn't happen overnight. I had to pretty much work my way through everything, uh, day in day out. Well, I had to study every day for about 3, 4 hours a day, do a lot of practice tests, and really get comfortable before I was even able to book an exam. But if you have the heart and dedication to do so, you would be fine. Don't worry. Everybody starts out not knowing anything. Nobody gets this decides to get an AWS certification knowing everything about AWS already. If they did, well, that's probably because they already have experience. But not everybody has that luxury, as I have. I had no experience with AWS, and now fast forward to August 2020, I pretty much have 5 AWS certifications, and it took me only about 5 to 6 months to get them. So if I could do it, I'm pretty sure anybody else could do it. Hey guys, so one piece of advice is don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. When I was first looking into getting AWS certified, I had no clue what AWS even was, to be honest. Um, I started back in February 2020, and I was looking at a few YouTube videos and some guides, and they were all suggesting that if you have some sort of IT background, and you have like, at least 1 to 2 years experience, or have like a CompTIA Network Plus or CCNA, you're probably good to go straight to Solutions Architect Associate, and that's why I chose to go that route. I'd rather go for the SA Associate instead of getting my Cloud Practitioner, since I feel like Cloud Practitioner is more for like the business sales side of IT for someone that's not that tech savvy and they won't be using the technology like that and they'll be trying to sell products. That'll be good for them. But in my case, I wanted to be like a solutions architect and get my hands dirty with AWS. So that's why I went straight to SA Associate, and I used some really good resources such as Cloud Guru, a Cloud Guru, Linux Academy, which they both merged together now. It's really awesome. Check them out. John Maslow's practice exams, and I've also used WizLabs. Another person that I didn't use for my first time getting the SA Associate was Stefan Merrick's courses. You can find them on Udemy. It's really good. And those were the foundations that I had to get my AWS knowledge. So it took me about a month, and I was taking the practice exams pretty much every day. I would even take it during work when it was a slow time. I was doing a help desk slash system engineers support. So in my free time, I would take like practice exams just so I knew what was going on. So I just keep myself updated, motivated every day. Once I was getting like the high 80s, high 90s on my practice exams, I decided it was time to book my actual exam. And this was during March, I believe. So after a month of February, I was studying. So around mid-March, I finally booked my exam, and that's when COVID started happening. Surprise, right? So I booked it on Saturday, and I went to the testing center. I was kind of scared, to be honest, because it was COVID-19 was still pretty fresh and was everywhere, and nobody was wearing masks or anything, and I had to be in a closed room with like also no windows, so we were all breathing the same air, which was horrible. If I look back at it now, that's really stupid and dangerous of me. I probably should have just rescheduled it, but at the time, I just wanted to get AWS certified, and I've been practicing a month straight to finally get the chance to take the exam and hopefully pass it, which I did on my first try. Thank God. I believe I got a 77, and the minimum score is 72, so that's pretty good. But the most important part was that I didn't stop there. After I got that certification, I knew that wasn't probably going to be enough to get my first job strictly with AWS. I tried applying, just to see, but I didn't get any good results. But that may be different for everybody. But I'll still be worried if people want to hire you just for if you have associate cert, you might, find yourself at a really shady company. Because I did find some companies that were looking to do so, but they had really bad ratings on Glassdoor.com. So I'll just be careful of that. But I took like a week off after I got my solutions architect associate, and I started studying for my SysOps administrator associate. The reason why I chose that was because I took SA associate, solutions architect associate, so I could learn the fundamentals and the basics of AWS. Once you learn that, I feel like you're probably better off start focusing on more areas. At the time, I was a system engineer, so I thought maybe I should do a SysOps administrator associate. That gives you more hands-on learning about what you need to know in AWS, and it also teaches you how to troubleshoot, how to use CloudFormation, which is a really big thing right now. It pretty much allows you to create infrastructure as a code. So you could just use YAML or JSON to create an S3 bucket, or if you want to create SQSQ, SNS topic, AWS configurable, pretty much any AWS service you want to create, you can do with a CloudFormation stack. And it's really easy once you master it, and it could help you save a lot of time compared to manually creating everything. And if you could master CloudFormation, that would be a really good uh, reason for companies to hire you, to be honest. Because right now I'm doing a lot of CloudFormation stuff. Anything we build is strictly use of CloudFormation. We don't go to the management console and try to build it manually. We have to use CloudFormation stacks. It's better for everybody to update and keep track of, which is always the main thing you want to do when it comes to DevOps. So, like I said, after I got my SysOps administrator, it took me about a month and a half, and actually it took me an extra 2 weeks because I failed on my first try, probably by like 2 questions. Yeah, I got like a 69 out of a 72, which really sucked. I mean, I was so pissed that I failed on my first try, and I took it at home because COVID-19. because no one was allowed outside at the time. But you know, I guess the quarantine benefited me because really had nowhere to go. So I'm like, might as well learn something new, right? Get these certifications. And so I decided after I failed just to go back and I used the FinMerix course to get more exposure to different practice exams, which is the key. You always want to try different practice exams. You don't want to just stick to one, so you could get the lingo and pretty much try to figure out what these questions are really asking you, what keywords to look for. So once I practiced what I needed to know, what I was weak on, from when I took the SysOps administrator, because they give you the score report and they tell you what sections you did really good and what sections need improvement. So 2 weeks later, I took the exam again. I passed. I believe I got like a 79, which was 7 points higher than what I was supposed to get to pass. So that was always good. And then I was like, all right, I got 2 AWS certifications. Let me go ahead and try to apply for some jobs. It didn't work out. It turns out 2 is not enough. And I was like, all right, I'm going to stop playing around. I want to take it to the next level. I don't want to be associate anymore. So I went for the AWS Solutions Architect Professional, which I thought was really good because having that knowledge from Solutions Architect Associate is a good foundation, but you still would like to get at least another cert just so to put you over the edge so you can feel more prepared. That's why I decided to take SysOps Administrator, and once I got that, I went straight to SA Pro. And it did help me a lot, but SA Pro is really hard. I would say it's the really hardest exam out of all the AWS certifications because you really have to know your stuff if you want to do that. It tests you everything, and it's about a wide range of AWS services. So you literally have to know almost, I would say about 60 or 70%, and that's a lot. Considering they keep making new services almost every week. But yeah, just really prepared for the SA Pro. It took me about a month and a half also to get that, which was amazing to me that I even got it. My first try, I failed by one question. I believe my score was like a 73, and the minimum was a 75. I was so mad. It's like, oh, I was just there. But at the same time, I was like, even though I failed by one question, I was right there. So I went ahead and started practicing more and more. I took a whole bunch of different practice exams. I took this certified AWS practice exam, which was only about $20, but since I passed some previous exams, they gave me a voucher. So I used that to practice, to give me a good gauge of where I was at. And I kept doing my research, reading the FAQs, AWS docs, which is called the white papers, and really focused on all the different services that AWS had to offer. And Lord and behold, 2 weeks later, I was able to pass my exam, took it at home because of the quarantine, which you'll still be able to do right now, I believe. And I was so happy once I got the AWS, the Solutions Architect Professional. That's when I started getting some replies for a few positions, and that was about in June of 2020 when I got it. And it's I heard that after July 4th that they're really going to start hiring people. So that's why I was a little bit slow. They didn't want to hire anybody, but I started getting some replies and setting up those interviews. After that, I took like a week break, and then I started with the DevOps Pro. And the DevOps Pro, it sounds pretty hard at first, and it might be a little hard depending on where you're at with your AWS knowledge, but after I passed SA Pro, I just felt like I could pass anything. So after SA Pro, I literally studied for like 10 days because there's a lot of overlap. And the good part is that DevOps Pros mostly focused on services like CloudFormation and code build, code deploy, code pipeline, Elastic Beanstalk, etc. So, it condenses that information that you need to study for compared to the SA Pro where you had to pretty much study like a whole bunch of different services. So I was pretty good. I got a 80 on my first try and I passed, thank God, for my for my DevOps Pro. But and I was feeling really great. So now I have 2 AWS certifications, which are the associate level, SA Associate and SysOps Administrator Associate. Then I also had my two pro certifications, which was SA Professional and DevOps Professional. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started getting a little bit more replies, and I actually got a really nice interview. I did pretty well. But even though I had that interview, I was still trying to get another certification because I wanted to make myself really stand out. So I did the AWS Security Specialty exam, and Lord behold, it took me like a week after I studied for. It took me about a week studying for that. After I got my DevOps Pro, and I nailed it because security was always like my strong suit. I was always fascinated by it, even in college. So that focuses more on the IAM, uh, S3 bucket policies. You have the long JSON. It also focuses on KMS a lot. So you want to know about encryption if you're looking to do that to get the AWS Security Specialty Cert. And you also need to know your network access control list, NACLs as they call them, security groups, etc. You want to be really focused. And having those security skills along with DevOps and SA Professional, Solutions Architect Professional skills really makes you stand out as a candidate. That's when my inbox is booming. As soon as I got that, I keep getting calls from companies left and right, and recruiters ask me if I'm looking for a job. And I shopped around and got a good offer. And at the time, I was still a help desk technician making about 55K. Essentially, I picked on this one job that's pretty much more than double my salary, and six figures and over, which I'm pretty happy that I spent my pretty much 5 to 6 months staying in this room right here, just studying, learning AWS, just so I could get to where I'm at today. But that doesn't mean I want to stop. I want to go ahead and help everybody else watching this. If I can, I'd like to advise you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I also have my own website that I created using as like S3 for static website hosting. That's a really good starting point, for like recruiters and people on LinkedIn to see what you're doing and how much you know about your AWS skills, and creating like a status S3 website. So if you want, I'll put the link in the description below. And thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this helps you. Take care.